Had second day out there in pads today and not near as sharp as we were yesterday. Our guys we're going to have to do a lot better in practice if we're going to get to where we'd love to be at the end of this season. You know, it's going to take some guys that's going to have to confront other people. You know, it's interesting. We got some guys on our team that I think are really good leaders, okay? But to be a leader, you have to be able to confront your peers. And right now, when you're out at our practices, the only body that does the confronting is the coaching staff. So until we make some strides there, last time I checked, there's not any of these coaches out there playing during the game. So we've got to continue to improve that. We've got to support the leadership on our team so we can improve as a team. You know, today's a perfect example. You know, yesterday was a beautiful day, nice and pretty. Today the temperature's up, it's hot, it's muggy. It affects everybody on the team. You know, there's a couple of guys that you see it don't affect, but you know, so we let external factors affect how we practice. So we still got a long ways to go. You know, I think one good thing is I think our coaching staff does a great job confronting our guys and make them aware of the situation, trying to improve on it. So not as good as practice today as we'd like to have seen. But we still got some good work done.
Questions? David?
Hey, Jeremy, I was wondering if you could shed any light on how you and your staff were able to get the Cordova duo of Carvin and Banks out of Memphis right there at the buzzer before the December signing period, and maybe just what they meant to that class.
Well, I think Jerome and Jeremy are two guys that got a chance to be good football players. They're still learning. You know, Jerome was here during the spring and has a semester under his belt already. Got a chance to go through spring. I think Jerome's very conscientious about being a good football player. Tries to do everything we ask him to do. I think when he got here, he probably weighed about 335 pounds. I think he's like 302 or 3 now. So he's worked really hard to get his weight down, to get in shape, to give himself an opportunity. You know, and to his credit, he's had to play 4 positions since he's been here. So there's not many guys that can do that and still function as a freshman, you know. So that says a lot about him and who he is. His best football is way ahead of him. He's going to continue to improve as a player. You know, Jeremy got here during the summer, and you know, Jeremy's he's a hard worker. He's kind of a spark plug. Still has so much to learn about going about doing this business every day, and that's just part of being a freshman. So I think both guys, if they continue to work hard, they got a chance to be good football players.
Austin and Daniel Blake.
Jerry, can you talk about what you've seen out of JaJuan through these first couple of days of practice this week, and you know, do you feel like that he's ready to take that next step to helping the football team?
Well, I think since I've been here, I think JaJuan's done everything we've asked him to do. Unfortunately for him, he's been hurt most of the time. You know, he really just got cleared right going into fall camp, and you know, we had to monitor his reps during fall camp, so that hurt his development. As a wide receiver, he hadn't done it in, you know, really over a year. So I think he's getting back into it. He's done really well for us on special teams, and you know, when he's gotten the ball, he's fought for yardage. I think he's been a really good blocker. You know, I think he's still probably from a conditioning standpoint is not where he would like to be, but he's getting closer.
Coach, you mentioned earlier this week that Bryce Thompson, after having a bad first week, came back and, you know, practiced really hard on Monday of last week and showed you a lot during practice. How has he approached this week now that he got named SEC Freshman of the Week? And have you seen any other guys kind of take that mentality that he had last week and come in and hit it hard this week?
Well, I think it was a perfect lesson for everybody on our team. You know, it was hard to find some bright spots after the first week. And, you know, I've said it before, I think Bryce would be the first one to tell you that, you know, he didn't play very well against West Virginia, but he came back and practiced extremely hard. And it showed the way he played on Saturday. Did he play perfect? No, but played much better. And, you know, I think that's that's a good lesson for all the players on our team is, you know, he probably, out of all the defensive backs, the first game probably played the worst, okay? But because the way he practiced and went about his business, the next week he got to start, he played, and he played extremely well. So, you know, I think that's good for everybody on our team. The only way you're going to get better and play at your best is to prepare and create the right habits every day. So we're a young football team that has to do that. We have to do that. You know, the way we go about our business is going to be extremely important for our success this season. So we're going to have to be very productive every day and every opportunity that we have.
You mentioned your leadership and those guys needing to take the next step. Who are some of those guys you're talking about as leaders?
Well, I don't think that's fair to the guys that I'm talking about. You know, I think that the guys on our team that do things the right way, and they do it the right way most of the time. So if they're going to do it the right way, then they need to hold their teammates accountable to do it the same way. So when we get that, we'll be where we need to be, but we got a long ways to go there.
David Oven and Patrick Brown.
Jeremy, you mentioned this morning you guys have a plan for your guys that are from the Carolinas going into that storm this weekend. What does that sort of look like, and then how do you want those guys to kind of handle that as they've got a lot of other things here and then there and kind of balancing that?
Well, for all the guys that have family that's kind of in the wake of the storm there, you know, to me that's got to be their number one priority. You know, their family safety. You know, I'm sure that it's on their minds, it's on everybody's mind that's there, that's not even associated with Tennessee. I mean, it's an unfortunate circumstance that happens, and we've tried to take try to do everything that we possibly could to help alleviate some of the stress for the family members of our players who, you know, will possibly be affected by the storm.
Jeremy, obviously, Banks last week got more carries than he got, I guess, in the West Virginia game. Obviously, Chandler was out, but with four guys now, I guess, kind of competing for carries and snaps, how have you kind of seen the competition in the backfield, and have some of those other guys kind of responded to seeing another one of their guys go out and play pretty well?
Well, I think those guys have competed really well all fall camp because there is competition. There's depth there. You know, I look on the scout team, and, you know, Princeton Fant does a really good job for us every day out there learning how to run the ball. And so those guys compete, and I think that it'll be like any other position, that the guys that are productive and kind of earn the trust of the coaches will get an opportunity.
Jeremy, what have you seen from Chance Hall? How would you kind of evaluate his first two games after him not playing much football at all for nearly 2 years? And today it looked like he was getting a little bit of work at left tackle as well. Is he a guy that will continue to be kind of moved around on the offensive front?
Well, for a guy that's not played ball in a couple of years, you know, Chance is extremely smart. You know, he can play multiple positions because he knows what to do and how to do it. You know, he's still, you know, he can't go out there and practice every snap every day. You know, he's still kind of working his way back, building up his stamina, and we've been careful with him because we need him on our football team. He continues to improve. I think he's got really good toughness, and he's got instincts as an old lineman. So we've kind of tried to slowly kind of get him in there, and you know, with the loss of BK, that probably opens a little more of a door for Chance, and I think he's done a good job. But he'll continue to improve the longer he plays.
Coach, you mentioned earlier in the week the importance of identifying the defense when you're running the ball. What kind of role does the quarterback play at the line of scrimmage when a run play is called, and what can they do to be more successful from their role?
Talking about offensively? Well, I mean, I think all college teams, you know, try to stay out of bad plays. So we're going to run the zone play over here, and we got 4 guys, and they got 5 over here. We probably don't need to run it over there. We probably need to run it over here. So something as simple as that. You know, I think carrying out their fakes, you know. You run zone read, quarterback needs to carry out his fake. You run zone from under center or power, quarterback needs to carry out his fake. So, and I think just having an impact on your teammates. I think we've all been around people that, you know, when you kind of walk into a room or you get ready, if you've been on a team, you've seen those guys on a team that kind of have that that gets everybody else going, even when it's a little bit warm outside, you know, and maybe the other ones don't feel like it. So to me, I think that's important for a quarterback. So we kind of need to continue to develop in all those areas.
Jeremy, when you know, this is the time of year when you're playing opponents and you've got guys who kind of go down to the scout team and do roles like that, how important is it, or how much can you learn about a guy when he goes into a situation like that and kind of how he handles it? Because obviously everyone would love to be a starter.
Well, you know, it's everywhere that I've been, we've had guys that are probably our best players started on the scout team. So, you know, it wasn't hard to figure out for me that A.J. McCarron was going to be a good college quarterback by the way he ran the scout team. It wasn't hard to see that Jalen Hurts was going to be a good quarterback by the way he ran the scout team, or Eddie Lacy or DJ Fluker or Chance Warmack or all those guys. And all I can do is talk about where I've been. That's all I've seen. So I've seen a bunch of first rounders play on the scout team, and they played it like it was their game every day. And then I saw guys that probably had as much talent as those guys that didn't embrace the opportunity to improve as a player and make a choice to go down there and say, hey, I'm going to improve. I'm going to be the best me I can possibly be every day. And nobody really knows where they're at now. So if you want to be a good football player, you're going to take every opportunity and do the best with what you can do with it.
Any more questions for Coach? One more, Ryan.
Jeremy, how's Nigel Warrior played so far this year, and what's kind of the next step in his development as a second-year starter now?
Well, Nigel's still learning what's going on in the back end. He's got to improve on his man-to-man technique. He needs to improve on his tackling. I will say this about Nigel: he works really hard every day. He is trying to do what it takes to be the best player that he can possibly be. I see him up there watching tape on his own, so he's improved his ball skills. And I think as long as he continues to go about his business that way, he's going to be the best that he can possibly be. So, you know, that's all he can do.